Hey there, my name is Cole Adams, and you are watching the best college basketball podcast out there that covers the entire sport of college basketball, brackets, bubbles, and bid stealers. Now, here are your hosts, Sam Fetterman and Jonathan Lidskin.
Season 6, episode 66.5 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bit Stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. That is Jonathan Lidskin. Jonathan, happy Monday to you. Happy Monday to everyone listening. Mr. Lidskin, how you doing?
Great. We had another great weekend of college basketball. Congrats to you on your Patriots win from last night.
The New England Patriots are in
the MVP with a great second half.
Yeah, and obviously you have continued to successfully reverse jinx the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, this wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for me.
No, there's no chance this happens if you don't renounce them. What was the moment that you renounced them officially?
So I was kind of thinking about it a little last year, like midseason, but it was they played the Seahawks on Thursday night, like late in the year. And that's when I kind of decided, yeah, it's like I'd enjoy this sport a lot more if I wasn't rooting for anyone.
So obviously we did not have a show on Saturday night. That is my fault. All on me, 100%. Hopefully.
To be honest, it sounded like we wouldn't have been able to really have one anyway.
Well, if I'd let him know, maybe we would have.
Yeah.
We're going to keep it tentative. Hopefully we have one tomorrow. Because tomorrow is Dan Hurley's scheduled yearly loss at Seton Hall.
I've put out some outrageous figures to friends of what I'm betting on Seton Hall tomorrow.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff tomorrow. Indiana, Michigan State, Iowa State, Kansas, Virginia, Louisville. Obviously UConn, Seton Hall. So hopefully we have a show tomorrow night. Hopefully we have mid-major Thursday this week. I'm assuming we're going to have a Friday weekend preview, and we're hoping for Saturday Night Live. So
yeah,
we're hoping for a full week of shows. The full four. But again, all tentative. I want to keep it that way for now. Let's start with the biggest story in college basketball over the weekend. The Michigan Wolverines picking up their first loss of the season, 91-88 at home in Ann Arbor, the most dominant college basketball team of the last 25 years through the first 2 months of the season. And I think we can pretty clearly say that without anybody being mad about it, right? They were the most dominant college basketball team through 2 months.
Yes.
Yes. And they have shown serious cracks now in the last 2 games, as much as you can for a team that is still number 1 in KenPom at plus 35.95 and 14-1, and still projected to be the best team in the Big Ten. They win 74-72 against Penn State on the road. Penn State has a shot to win that game. And then they come home and Wisconsin rains 15 threes on Michigan. And honestly, that's kind of going to have to be one of the main formulas to beating this Michigan team. You're going to have to beat them because you're going to have to beat them with the 3-ball to stretch out their defense.
Yeah, that's literally all it was. There was, a bad 3-point shooting team beating 15, shooting 15 or 33 threes and hitting 15 of them.
Yeah,
sorry about that real quick. But yeah, listen, when this Michigan team has the size and, the athletic ability on the interior that they do, they're not forcing you to take threes. It's just why would you ever attack the rim against them? And Wisconsin is not a good 3-point shooting team. They should be.
They should be.
265th entering.
They should be based on their roster.
Correct. But they come in, they hit 15 threes, and that's how you upset somebody like this.
Yeah, and for me, it's the fact that Michigan was still going shot for shot with them in this game. Obviously, Wisconsin playing without Ozzie Rapp, who again theoretically should be one of their better shooters, but is only shooting 30%. Is only shooting under 30% from three. Nick Boyd again on a season under about 31%. Andrew Rohde about 35%. Like these guys are better shooters than their numbers indicate. And this is kind of like a everything comes together for them type of game. And they make the shots. And remember, Wisconsin's a team that takes a ton of threes. And every once in a while, they're going to have a game where they come out and they make a whole bunch. Alexis Bielauskas was tremendous, just hitting shot after shot after shot. John Blackwell was awesome. Andrew Rohde hit a big one. So I think that Wisconsin being able to answer the bell, hit shots, not really not turn the ball over as well. They only turned it over 10 times against a Michigan team that can pressure, that can do so much on you defensively. Again, that's kind of maybe Michigan's warp defensively is they don't force a ridiculous amount of turnovers. But like that's because basically any shot is a bad shot against Michigan, and they don't need to play with as much pressure, but we know that they can because of the personnel that they have. Michigan's still number one in the country in 2-point offense and 2-point defense. Still the number one defense in the country, even though they gave up now in this game. What is it?
It was like 1.26.
1.26 points per possession. And again, like I'm not sure what more Michigan could have done in this game. Like obviously, Wisconsin just made a lot of shots. Michigan, it was clearly not their best game of the year, but like they jumped out to a 14-point first half lead. They were kind of killing them, like what we usually see from this team. And then Wisconsin just came out and made their first 7 threes of the second half, and Michigan was still right there. I don't think Wisconsin led by more than 6 at any point in this game. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say I come out of this game thinking higher of Michigan because I absolutely don't. I thought about as highly.
They didn't play well independent of the 3-point shooting.
I thought about as highly of Michigan as I possibly could have, as you possibly can about a college basketball team in January. It's just that, hey, like it's a long season. Like I know that it's 30 something games. It's 31 games in the regular season. It's significantly shorter than an NBA season, but 31 games is still a long season. And like you see the OKC Thunder were 23-1, and then they lost like 4 games in the next however many. So even within NBA sample sizes of 30 games, like that, a lot can happen. Like it doesn't feel like it's that long, but there's a lot of games that are played. And Michigan has a lot of really good results. Obviously, Auburn looks a lot better after what happened on Saturday. Gonzaga continues to be just a ridiculous win. Villanova, with that game, what they did to USC. Michigan, again, they were one of the most dominant teams that we've ever seen, maybe the most dominant team we've ever seen for 2 months. They have 2 games where it doesn't quite look the same. One of them kind of just because it's kind of tough spot on the road. And this one because it's the other team just hitting a ton of threes, having a positive regression game. But man, this is a season saver for Wisconsin. If we want to talk about the Wisconsin, unless you have anything more on Michigan.
No, I think you hit everything there. I agree with you. Like Wisconsin was looking for a big win. Like their metrics weren't awful, but they had no marquee wins on the year. Like
Wisconsin heading into last week, their biggest wins were Providence and Northwestern. Providence loses to Xavier this weekend. Northwestern loses to Rutgers. So those 2 wins are not aging particularly well, even though they were blowouts. Mm-hmm. I guess the Northwestern one was less of a blowout. But this week they get UCLA at home. That's another team that's going to be fighting for an NCAA tournament spot all year. UCLA kind of still needs their big win. I know they have the Washington win, but that's kind of it right now. And then they get what is probably going to go down in the books as the number 1 WAB win of the year.
This isn't just a quad 1 win. This is the best win of any team in college basketball this year.
Yeah, that's the question I was going to ask. Is this win better than the Iowa State Purdue win?
If you take out, actually, I'll still say yes. Like Wisconsin probably, like them winning by 2 is probably just as impressive for them as Iowa State winning by.
It's not a more impressive performance, but it's
Yeah,
if you go by WAB, and remember WAB is on the team sheets now for the second year.
correct.
Then the top 5 wins of the season by WAB, 2 of them happened this weekend. We'll get into the other one. But Wisconsin plus 0.96 wins above bubble by winning at Michigan. That is 0.04 more than Arizona's UConn win and Iowa State's Purdue win, which were 0.92. And obviously the Arizona win over UConn came with no Terrace Reed and no Braylon Mullins. So I think that you can dock that a little. Obviously still really impressive for Arizona to do that. And I think the way I feel about Arizona coming out of that game versus the way I feel about Arizona now, it's like I feel so much better about Arizona because they've been so dominant in the last month or so. I think Borzello had a tweet that they'd won their last 10 games by 13 plus.
Yeah, like I think the Iowa State win, it obviously was more impressive, but the way that Michigan had looked early in the year, like going to their place and getting this done, scoring 91 points, like based on expectation, I think it's probably
the most shocking result of the year. I would say if you go to the biggest upsets of the year per KenPom, Denver over Colorado State, New Orleans over TCU, Mercyhurst over Loyola, which again now we kind of know, Eastern Michigan over Cincinnati, Delaware over George Washington, and then Wisconsin over Michigan. And this is a Wisconsin team that again is like a good basketball team, probably now moving towards the right side of the bubble, if not on the right side of the bubble right now, because of this win. Let me see where they are overall in WAB. After this, they're still 42nd in WAB, but this win basically flipped them from, it would have been like 60th. Like they were in the Syracuse, Kentucky, Santa Clara, Oklahoma range in WAB, and now they're in the Iowa, Texas A&M area of WAB.
Yeah.
So that's a huge flip for them. Their first quad 1 win of the year. So, and again, like how some of those quad 1 games looked for them. Like the Nebraska game looked really bad. The BYU game looked really bad. The Purdue game, where they came out in the second half and looked totally flat. I think for Wisconsin, just a season saver. This win's going to carry a lot of weight on Selection Sunday, and I know that like we try and analyze the game for the game itself. I think we already gave you that, but I also think that it's really important to note, like you could have been. This could be their last quad 1 opportunity of the month. At least looking at KenPom, I don't have the bracketologists schedule up. I'll pull that up right now. If you get Wisconsin, which is right now 40th in the net. This is their last quad. That was their last quad 1 opportunity of the month, at least for the moment. So they could have been going into February without a quad 1 win, and like still been in the hunt. Now their February schedule, it's 5 quad 1 games in a row to start February: at Indiana, at Illinois, versus Michigan State, at Ohio State, versus Iowa. So they've got a lot on their plate in February. They just kind of really lightened their load of what games they need to win.
Yeah, I mean you can look at that 2 ways. You can look at that as a gauntlet, and you can look at that as opportunities.
Yeah, I think I remember, like, what was it last year? Michigan State won 7 straight quad 1 games, 7 straight games, and they were all quad 1 or something like that.
Yeah,
I think it was the longest quad 1 win streak of all time that Michigan State had, and it was one of the most impressive streaks I've seen. I don't think Wisconsin can do that, but like if Wisconsin can go out there and win now 2 of those versus maybe they would have had to win 4 previously. Of the 7 or 8 quad 1 games that they'll have in that month, they probably are in a much better spot. Obviously, you can't take a bad loss. Wisconsin cannot take bad losses because they right now that's the one thing they don't have. That's the thing that they don't have on their resume. They don't have a loss outside of quad one. Obviously, I think that TCU could end up falling out of quad one if they fall out of the top 50, but you got Minnesota, Rutgers, Penn State, USC, Minnesota, Ohio State heading into February. You go and win all of those except for either USC or Ohio State, and you're in a good position to make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
All right. Another big result on Saturday, Mr. Lidskin, came from Bloomington, Indiana, where it took about 20 years for the trade to load, and both programs were kind of in the buffer zone. But Nebraska football has become Indiana football, and Indiana basketball has become Nebraska basketball.
Yeah.
By the way, this game, elite jersey matchup. Just it looks great. Nebraska, Indiana, the red for Nebraska, the red jerseys with the white numbers versus the white jerseys with the red numbers. It looks like college basketball.
So this was crazy because Nebraska just got contributions from guys that you wouldn't expect them to lead them in scoring.
Yeah, Jamarcus Lawrence.
Lawrence going for 27. Come on.
Yeah, but for me, the play that stands out in this game is Braden Frager making that kind of dagger three late. He was 0 for 4 from 3, and then he makes that one. This is a guy that obviously has been efficient throughout the year. Is 65% true shooting. He's been a good shooter. I know he's only shooting 34%, but it feels like he's shooting a little higher than that. It's 42% in the Tier A plus B games. And he comes out, hits that big shot. He's been one of the most underrated freshmen, I think, in all of college basketball, just because of the role he's been able to play on a team as good as Nebraska, where he's been able to give them quality minutes, score consistently, give them some consistent rebounding. Again, not going to rank among the top freshmen in the country because he's the team's 4th, 5th best player or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that he's able to kind of come in off the bench, have an impact in every single game, no matter what it is, and help the team that's now 16-0 as a true freshman, or I don't know if he's a true freshman, but as a freshman from Lincoln, just really, really good find. I guess not even a find, just a guy that we weren't really talking a ton about when he was a prospect. He redshirted last year. I now know that. And now he's one of the key players on a really, really good Nebraska team.
Yeah, he's a really important player, no doubt. This team just keeps winning on the road, and we've talked, I think, for a couple of years now about how good Nebraska is at home. You don't just walk into Pinnacle, man, because it's a thing for a reason. And now, this team is translatable to road environments, which in past years they haven't been. Part of that is, they haven't had a super great defense, and now they do. And if you play defense, I think it makes you more capable of winning on the road. Just because offense, shooting can get rattled and other stuff like that. But yeah, this team just plays really great team basketball, and that showed up once again on Saturday.
Yeah, their last NCAA tournament team 2 years ago went 18-1 at home, went 3-8 on the road.
Who was the one loss?
I think Creighton.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
They got smacked
because I know they killed Purdue at home.
Yeah, they killed Purdue. They beat that Wisconsin team with AJ Storr. They beat the Boo Booey Northwestern team. They beat the Indiana team that sucked. It's not a super crazy schedule for them, honestly, because they went to Illinois. They went, I guess, no, wait, hold on. Yeah, and they lost to Illinois in the Big Ten tournament.
Mhm.
Yeah. Was not the most, I guess they beat Michigan State at home as well. I'm trying to think, do I remember that game? It's like a Sunday in December. But regardless, Nebraska is, I don't know what they're going to be ranked in the AP poll today, but it's going to be pretty high. They are 16-0, 17th in KenPom, probably higher than their KenPom rank and how good they actually are. But where would you rank this team if you were doing a top 10, top 15? Like, would they be in your top 5? Would they be in your top 10 based on how good you think the team is?
Top 10, I think. Like, at some point, you can't ignore results, like, no matter what the metrics say. They're 17th in KenPom, but, like, you win at Illinois, you beat Michigan State at home, now you beat Ohio State, Indiana on the road. Like, they haven't just, like, been beating good teams. Like, Illinois and Michigan State are both teams I think are very, very, very good, and they've taken out both of them. So, like, at some point, like, you can't ignore results. I think, like, probably somewhere around 8 to 10.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. As for Indiana, man, this was going to be, this had the chance to be a marquee win for a team that, again, still doesn't really have a marquee win. You have the Washington win at home, but that's kind of your best win. Missed opportunity for a team that now kind of has a gauntlet again with Michigan State away, Iowa home, Michigan away, and then Rutgers away, and then Purdue at home, and then the West Coast swing with UCLA and USC. So Indiana, 12-4. Work to do to be certainly in the tournament, but doesn't have anything like that does not have a resume killer at the moment. So I think they'll have every chance to make it if they can get one win over Purdue between those two games. There's a good chance that they'll find a way to get in. They also play Michigan State twice. They still have to play Illinois and Michigan, so they'll have their opportunities. It's just that, again, I don't know how this team matches up athletically with some of the more athletic teams it'll face. And I think this Nebraska game was a real opportunity for them because Nebraska is 16-0, not necessarily because of their athleticism. They're not an athletic team, but they're not among the most athletic in the country. Like the way some of the like the way you're going to see from a Michigan State, which can be really, really athletic, or a Michigan that can be really athletic. Some of their other opportunities for big wins. I think Indiana is kind of going to regret not getting that one, even if they do make it.
Yeah, tend to agree. Like the defense has started to be worse, which is what we kind of feared.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense now that their offense is 28 and their defense is 41. I think that defense is going to keep falling. That offense could keep rising a little bit. But again, Michigan State is a really tough game. I'm really looking forward to Darian DeVries against Ben McCollum next Saturday. And then you got to go to Michigan. And they're not invincible, but are you going to make 15 threes and win there?
Right.
I think Indiana, we could wake up a week from we could be on the pod a week from tomorrow, and they could be 12-7 without a quad one win. And that's a concerning.
Yeah, very easily.
It's a concerning place to be. Let's move on and let's get to another game from Saturday. Jonathan, Auburn 95, Arkansas 73. Keyshawn Hall had 32. Great bounce back for the Tigers after those two really close losses to open up SEC play. Again, there's been a lot of chatter about the Tigers because of obviously who their coach is and how that coach got that job and the circumstances with it. But Auburn is up to 31 in KenPom. They have the wins now: St. John's, NC State, Arkansas. They're good. Those are good wins. They're certainly not any sort of lock to make the NCAA tournament because they have a whole bunch of losses and they're probably going to take a few more.
Yeah,
but,
and the SEC is not the caliber it was last year.
Yeah, but I do think that this is the type of win that it's a notable. It's big for Auburn to have this one. And they also just looked really, really good. They kind of made Arkansas. It's not like Arkansas didn't shoot the ball very well because Arkansas has been one of the better shooting teams in the country. Maybe a little surprisingly because I think that was one of the knocks on them that we had in the preseason that we didn't know how they would shoot. Arkansas made 38% of their threes in this game. Auburn just killed them on the glass. They got whatever they wanted inside the arc, which is an offensive masterclass in the first half. I felt that the effort level from Arkansas was pretty low in that first half.
Yeah, it just seems like Auburn was the more physical team here. Like the Keyshawn Hall just dominated them. Auburn, got to the line a decent amount. They were, 63% on two-pointers. They overwhelmed them, frankly. And this is an Arkansas team that I really like. But Auburn, I feel like, needed a performance like this.
Absolutely agree. Auburn as a team in this game, 20 assists, 10 turnovers, 1.33 points per possession. They got 16 from Keyshawn Murphy. They got 10 from Overton, 13 from Elijah Freeman. They got scoring from different places. And again, it moves them up 7 spots in KenPom. They're now the number 9 offense in the country. They've scored in their last in their 3 SEC games. They have scored. Let me get the points per possession up: 1.21, 1.20, and then 1.33 in their 3 SEC games thus far. The problem is that are they going to be able to get stops consistently? Again, like Mizzou, not a team that Mizzou doesn't get a lot of stops themselves. That game is coming up on Wednesday, so I'm expecting that one to be pretty high scoring. But for Auburn, they don't have one of those monster games on their schedule in the next 3. It's Mizzou, South Carolina, Mississippi, and they go to Florida on January 24th, which is going to be an interesting one. We'll get into Florida in a moment. But again, Auburn, I feel like they need to win these next 3 for sure. Because like Mississippi and Missouri and Mississippi, I believe are probably they're both quad 2 games right now, not quad 1.
Mizzou's not quad 1 right now?
Mizzou's 76.
Wow. They're 57th in KenPom. That's kind of crazy. Usually you don't see the net in KenPom off like that much.
And Mississippi's 98th in the net and 69th in KenPom.
Well, yeah, that team is terrible, and Mizzou took a terrible loss.
Yeah, that's a really bad loss for Mizzou, especially coming off of 2 huge wins. Mizzou had a real opportunity to get to 3-0 in the SEC and squandered it. We'll get into that a little bit later in the whip around. But with Auburn, we know they can score. We know they can offensive rebound. We know that Keyshawn Hall has been one of the best players in the country this year. He's not in the KenPom top 10 for National Player of the Year anymore, but he's probably, if you were making an all-SEC first team, he's probably got to be on it.
Yeah, I think so.
Acuff, Philon, Tanner, Hauk, and Keyshawn Hall.
Yeah.
That would probably be the 5 if you had to do it.
Yeah, I mean, he's their best player by miles.
Yeah, to Florida and Tennessee. Thank you, Boogie Flant. You finally woke up. 23 points on 9 for 13 from the field, 5 assists. This was clearly his best game of the season in 31 minutes. And Florida blows out Tennessee. These two will just never play a close regular season game again, I guess.
No, I also I'm still a Florida believer here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that the fact that Florida just these last 2 wins are okay, Florida is still a team to keep an eye out for. They're still a team that can win the SEC, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. 2-1 in conference play now. You blew out Georgia. You lose the close one to Mizzou. And now you kill Tennessee. We've shared our thoughts numerous times on this Tennessee team, but Florida was they got good performances relatively out of their guards. Obviously, Fland was terrific, especially in the second half. But like these bigs are still really tough to play against and really tough to score against. And I think it gives them a pretty nice floor. Like, I'm not going to come out here and say, this team's a title contender or whatnot, but they play really good defense. And they have one pretty clear flaw that against most teams, I think they can mask.
Yeah. And here's the key in this game for me. Tennessee is the number 2 offensive rebounding team in the country. They got 6 offensive rebounds.
Yeah,
Florida,
you're not going to get many second chances against Florida. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, Florida is the best rebounding team in college basketball, and I think that this game proves that with just how dominant they were. 41 rebounds to 30 against a team like Tennessee. Just so impressive on that side. And again, Thomas Hauck scores 13 points in this game, goes 2 for 7 from the field, but it really does always feel like he's everywhere. Just makes plays, makes things happen. Then had 5 steals. Florida forced 18 turnovers of Tennessee. And man, Tennessee's turned the ball over a bunch this year because they have really one guy that's a true ball handler in Gillespie. And everyone else, they kind of just have to kind of pigeonhole and find ways to get the ball. And we've mentioned it, like Amen is not physically strong enough and physically explosive enough to get to his spots, and he's lost his confidence as a shooter. So it's just really difficult for him right now to be that player that he is kind of supposed to be. And then Tennessee's front court depth a little bit worse without Cade Phillips. He was obviously not good when he played this year compared to last year, but with Carey, again, Jalen Carey is throwing the ball into Jalen Carey, a good strategy against Ruben Chinyelu. I know he had 12 points and he got to the line a bunch, got Chinyelu in foul trouble, but the offensive rating was 83. And Apara's offensive rating was 51. So the 2 main bigs in terms of your offense in this game were at 51 and 83 offensive rating. That's kind of what Ruben Chinyelu and that Florida front court can do to you.
Yeah, I've told you this year that I think Chinyulu's gotten a lot better. Like, there's stuff he does that still looks, pretty uncoordinated, but his usage rate has gone up fairly substantially from about 16 to 19 last year to this year, and his numbers have frankly improved on that end, while also being an elite defender and rebounder.
Yeah, no, he's just really, really good player. Does so much for them. Let's keep it with. Let's actually move to Sunday. Illinois wins 75-69 against Iowa at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Kylan Boswell goes for 17. Keaton Wagler goes for 19. Man, Keaton Wagler, just whenever Illinois needs a basket, he steps up. He is,
our guy Trotter was getting toasted on the timeline for some stuff about this game.
Oh God, what did he say?
He said that it's Illinois. It's just Illinois fans. He said Bennett starts, is the best player in this game, but the 2nd through 7th best players are all on Illinois' team, and he's right. Illinois had a really good game plan for Sturts, and frankly shut him down. Yeah, you said it. Wagler is he's gone, dude. He's a pro.
Yeah, my concern now just comes to on the Sturts factor of if you can shut him down, Iowa can't beat a good team.
Yeah, nobody shut him down last year, and
Bradley held him to 8 points, and 4 points, and Drake scored 59 and 64 in those games.
Well, that was the one they lost, right?
Well,
one of them.
In the 2 games they played against Bradley in the regular season, 8 points in the loss, 4 points in the win, but he also had 8 assists to 1 turnover in the win. And that was the one they won on the road.
In the Missouri Valley tournament, he played great against them.
No, he killed them. He killed them.
He's not he's still playing a ton of minutes. Obviously, not what he was last year, but I think there could be some fatigue at some point here.
I mean, I also just think that he's going up against more athletic, more physical players. He's still been really good this
Yeah,
year.
he's still playing at an All-American level. I don't want to
Yeah,
like
that's the
sugarcoat it.
crazy thing. Like Bennett Sturts has to be an All-American for this team, and he is an All-American for this team.
Yeah,
Like his numbers,
it's just like right
his
now.
numbers are better than they were last year. The offensive rating went from 126.4 to 127.5. The true shooting is up from 60 to 62. There's less rebounding, there's fewer assists, but there's also fewer turnovers. I'm getting to the line the same amount, shooting the same percentage from three, shooting a bit higher percentage from the line. So it's the same numbers, if not better, than last year.
Yeah, I think right now, I think that, Sturts has been great for the most part. Like Fulgaris not being as good as we thought he would be, and Hausen getting, I don't even know if he's hurt or just getting DNPs at this point. But like those two guys not being as good as we thought they would be is like hurting this Iowa team. Like we thought Hausen was like a plus Mitch Mascari, right?
Yes.
And like Mascari last year was playing, nearly every single minute for Drake, shooting 40% from three. Like what wasn't fouling, was just extremely efficient, and like that's kind of what we thought Hausen would be, but more. And he's as far as you can be from that right now.
I think there's this kind of weird, not complacency is not the word. He's definitely not complacent. This weird, kind of maybe phobia of playing the guys that like are not his guys. For McCollum, I know he played Fulgaris 34 minutes in this game, but he wants to ride with his guys, the guys that he brings from Drake and from Northwest Missouri State, because I think it pisses him off more when those other guys make mistakes, because he's so used to his teams just never making mistakes.
Yeah.
But this is the Big Ten. Your team is going to make mistakes. It's not going to be perfect every game. And look, Drake turned the ball over a bunch last year, and Iowa's not turning it over this year quite as much as Drake was. They're also just not able to dominate on the glass as much. It's just kind of the athletic things are a little bit different in the Big Ten than they were in the Missouri Valley. They're not kind of able to schematically dominate the glass the way they were last year. Still a good rebounding team, just not an elite one.
Yeah, hard to be as good as they were last year, when you're playing against, better athletes.
Yeah, I'm not like necessarily even worried that Iowa's going to miss the tournament. It's just I don't really see them as a like this is the ultimate. What's the rule? What's the rule?
Is it a bracket Bible rule?
Yes. Let me find it. This is the ultimate Rule 6. It's Rule 6.
What is it?
Don't sell yourself on players. Sell yourself on teams.
Yes. Good.
I can already see
one of my favorite rules.
I can already see the Bennett Sturts is going to get them to the Sweet 16, to the Final Four takes coming up. And I'm like, I love Ben McCollum, I love Bennett Sturts, but this team just they don't have that level right now. I don't think. Keep getting to some more stuff. West Virginia over Kansas on Saturday, Jonathan. Kansas is now.
Can I just say that this was like the most obvious Kansas loss ever?
Most predictable Kansas loss ever. Go ahead.
Yeah, so winning on the road continues to be a problem for Kansas in conference.
It doesn't matter who's on the roster. They struggle to win on the road right now.
Like by Peterson standards, he was fine, not like great, but like was still the Ken Pom MVP of the game. They just like didn't defend West Virginia well at all. And West Virginia is not a great offensive team.
Yeah, no, West Virginia is not a great offensive team, but there's one thing that they do really well on the offensive end, and that's hit threes. And Honor Huff kind of got loose a couple times. Eagle staff, Lorient, and when Huff gets loose, like he's gonna hit his shots. It's one of the best shooters in college basketball. I think he led the sport in total made threes last year at Chattanooga. He's shooting the same percentage this year. kind of one of the more under talked about players in the country this year. He's basically doing the exact same thing that he did at Chattanooga. He's averaging 17.5 a game on 41% from three on 10 attempts a game. Like that's pretty legit stuff.
Yeah.
For Honor Huff, having a really, really nice senior year.
Lorient was also very good.
No, I think Lorient has been like if this team's going to like make a run, Lorient, he's kind of been inconsistent up and down this year. Lorient's got to be one of their best players if they're going to make a run, and he was that in this game. I think that's huge. They kind of escaped with that Cincinnati win. Almost blew that game, won it back. That was when they really couldn't afford to lose at home. They're probably not going to go on the road and beat Houston, but this Kansas win is a good one. It's going to be quad one for them. And that's a team that kind of needed a big win. They didn't have one coming in. And for West Virginia, I do think that they're that type of team that you don't really want to face because of how physical so many of their guys can be, with how physical so many of their guys can be, and they are really experienced. So I do think that they are a threat to definitely make the NCAA tournament. Even though they have some tough losses, I think they can pick up some good wins because they play slow. They can if they hit a couple shots in a given game like they did in this Kansas one, they can go out and beat you. I think they can do that. So wouldn't count them out of the NCAA tournament picture right now. Obviously think that the quad 3 loss to Xavier probably has to get back to quad 2. And it's not too far from that right now. But not a ton of opportunities for Xavier. But I guess they have 7 quad 1 games, 8 quad 1 games actually remaining on their schedule. Okay. Anything else on West Virginia, Kansas?
Nope.
All right, let's move forward with this. The other top 5 WAB result of the season from Saturday, one of the more surprising results of the year, without a doubt for me, was Texas 92, Alabama 88. I had this game on next to the football. Man, Jordan Pope went off. Thought Dalen Swain made some big plays. And, I mean, what was your takeaway from this game, Jonathan?
Texas hit some threes, but overall horrid defensive performance from Alabama. Like could not keep anyone in front of them. Like we're giving up open shot after open shot. I mean, yeah, this defense is not good, and I still want to like Alabama a lot, but giving up, like the way they play defense in this game really concerned me.
Yeah, I mean, like they've never been they never hit explosives on defense. Like they've never forced turnovers. On defense, not since like Herb Jones was on the roster. But but when they've had good defenses, it's been fine because they've had a Bediako, a Clowney, or a Cliff, and then obviously the team 2 years ago that made the Final Four. I still don't know how they did it. Just kind of Grant Nelson had some big plays in some big games, and they played against teams that maybe weren't all that great in the tournament compared to some of the other teams that year. But again, for a team that's 14th in KenPom, I do definitely have like my concerns about how good they can be in the tournament because this defense, there's no resistance at the rim. There's no resistance. There's no resistance in a lot of different places. I think
they don't turn you over at all.
Guards are. I mentioned turnover thing. The guards are not good. I know they block a bunch of shots, but they also just feels like they allow so many paint touches and rim touches that it's really getting to a point where, like Aiden Sherrell's going to block some shots, but he's not going to block every shot, and they're kind of forcing him to because they don't really have the ability to keep guys in front of them. For as good as Feinlein and Holloway are offensively, they've been bad defensively for them. So
yeah, it's not just those two. Like Reitzel doesn't guard anyone.
No, Reitzel missed this game.
I know, but like he doesn't guard anyone either.
No, not at all.
As much as I like him.
Yeah. George Mason, VCU will go to the A10, unless you want to hit the Texas side of this.
I just want to say that Tremont Mark is quietly having the best season of his college career.
Yeah. No, he's been good.
Very randomly.
I still think he's hard to watch.
I don't think we've said a positive thing about him on this pod in 3 years.
I still think he's hard to watch.
There
But
you go.
He's 62% inside the arc this year. Good for him.
But Jordan Pope had 28. Jordan Pope is fully capable of doing that to you. If you don't game plan for him.
Yeah, and Texas has a couple more big ones coming up, but they have 2 home games. They've got Vandy and A&M at home this week. Vandy got another win this week. They moved up to 16-0. They are one of now, I believe, just 5 undefeated teams remaining in college basketball. Jonathan: Arizona, Iowa State, Vanderbilt, Nebraska, and Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio is 17-0. The rest are 16-0. That Friday win for Miami of Ohio over Toledo was really impressive, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Don't really have any thoughts on it. Just kind of
Vandy's obviously going to drop some games, but this team is very much in play to be a 1 seed at this point.
Yeah, Vandy can get a 1 seed. At what point?
I wouldn't rule out Nebraska getting a 1 seed either. Honestly, just feels like these guys just keep winning.
Yeah, I feel like there's 8 teams that could get 1 seeds this year. Obviously the 4 that are undefeated: Michigan, Purdue. Houston's only got there's a lot of teams in the 1 seed conversation. I feel maybe even
a team that I see we have on the rundown that has 1 loss and keeps for some reason getting left. The metrics are worse, but they get left out of these conversations.
Duke?
No, Houston.
Oh, Houston, yeah.
Duke is very clearly in the 1 seed discussion with their resume, I think.
I mean, Houston. The metrics are worse this year, but I'm not sure that this team isn't this team's as much of a national championship contender as anybody. The only loss is by 3 to Tennessee a month and a half ago, and they've looked so much better over the last month.
I also just want to say that as someone who's had Houston preseason number 1 and is looking for reasons to elevate them into a different tier. The win on Saturday, while it was impressive, it wasn't as impressive as I think it could have been because Baylor is freaking terrible.
I do think going on the road and beating a tournament-ish team by 22, when you shoot 20.
If this team makes the tournament, I'm going to be furious.
Yeah, we broke college basketball, so James Najee could score 10 points in his first 3 combined games.
Like we said, did anyone consider the fact that James Najee might just not be good?
No, he's not. It's good on the glass for them. That's important for Baylor.
Yeah, and he's good on the glass and he's blocked some shots, but he is, not he's not.
Baylor is 0-3.
He's not a positive player.
Baylor is 0-3 in the Big 12. Kansas State is 0-3 in the Big 12. Jonathan.
And Baylor might look at their schedule. Baylor could be 0-6 here.
I'm just saying Tang and Drew might just need each other.
I'm going to say something that might get me kicked off the show.
Go ahead.
And you can do what you want with it. Would Kentucky be in a better position right now if they had hired Scott Drew?
I can't say yes and I can't say no.
This is assuming obviously that Tang doesn't
Hey,
come with
Kentucky got a huge win, 92-68.
Huge by margin, not huge by.
It's huge for them because they needed it.
Yeah, great. We're down to program-changing wins for Kentucky at home against Mississippi State.
No, it's a good win for them.
That's what we've come to.
They were down 12 in the first half of this game, and then they just turned it up completely, blew them out in the last 10 minutes. Thought that OA played his best game of the year.
Yeah.
So I mean, you couldn't ask for more from Kentucky in that.
Ken Palm's got him as a dog against LSU on Wednesday.
Oof, oof.
That's a tough spot to be in.
That's 0-3 in the SEC LSU, which, by the way, is still 31 spots higher in Ken Palm than
Dude,
South
it was BS. South Carolina had the Georgia game won. It was ridiculous. I was pissed. I bet on South Carolina. They were covering the entire game.
All right, let's hit George Mason VCU. Tony Skinn has the Patriots at 16-1, 4-0 in the A10. They are one of 3 undefeated teams in the A10 right now. VCU actually now has 2 losses in the A10 because they have lost to St. Louis as well. VCU goes 0-2 in this week with the tough schedule, but George Mason, this is at 16-1. I don't think you can really talk at large because they don't have any good wins. But I guess
this is what This is what I actually was going to say. So I'm glad you brought it up. At some point in the season, there is going to be discourse about these teams at the high mid-major level, and I guess in Miami, Ohio case, the true mid-major level that have outstanding records, but like the metrics don't match their records. And at some point, there's going to be discourse about, should this team be in the at-large conversation or not?
Do you feel that there are more of those teams this year?
Yes.
I do too.
Last year was like UC San Diego, who was like
But that was
problem is like these teams aren't their like clear favorites to win the conference. Like UC San Diego and Drake were like definitely the best teams in their league last year.
Yeah, well, Irvine was great too.
Irvine was too, but UC San Diego was better than them.
Yeah, but it kind of took a while for that to become.
This is true, but like you have George Mason, who like we clearly know is not the best team in the A10 at this point. Like that is St. Louis. No way around that. You have Miami, Ohio, who's undefeated.
By the way, George Mason and St. Louis do not play until March 7th. Jeez. That game is at George Mason. It is
Miami, Ohio is undefeated, but 97th in Yen Palm. And then,
I mean, if you're doing a bracket right now, Miami, Ohio has to be on there simply because
they're in first in their conference, and they've also, I feel like, have beaten every good team in the league so far. Right?
Have they
their early conference schedule has been no slouch, and they've taken care of business.
Where are they in the net? They're 53.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they haven't beaten Kent State yet, but they'll get that opportunity.
That's
and they haven't played Buffalo yet either. So those are 2 of their next 3 games.
And they also don't play at Akron.
Yeah, that was their only Akron game of the year.
So they're done with them until at least the conference tournament.
Yeah, that's something to note. On the Akron side of things, they beat Bowling Green on Friday. Did I mention that? I think I did. But anything else you want to get into before we kind of whip around into some stuff?
No, I don't think so.
Anything on the actual George Mason VCU game that you have?
Let me see if I have anything here.
I thought George Mason just is such
Sam, I gotta take this call. I'll be back in a couple minutes.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go and kind of talk for a moment about George Mason. It's just a team that I think is so good at touching the paint offensively. Every possession feels like a paint touch. Whether it's obviously Mincy is just a crazy good shooter, but they only needed to take 14 threes in this game. And they feel like they're driving the ball because they got Jahari Long, who can drive the ball, Masai Troutman, who can drive the ball, Fat Hill, who's getting to the line at, it's a 97% free throw rate. He's attempted 32 free throws and 22 field goals in conference play in the 4 games. That's absurd. It's a 34% effective field goal percentage and a 59% true shooting. So Fat Hill, just a guy that can get to the line whenever he wants. And it clears up so much. And Alan Spock does so much for them, kind of just cleaning up dirty work and being able to finish at the rim, giving them that stuff. I mean, he's 70% inside the arc. It just because it feels like he's always in the right spot. And for George Mason, 24 free throw attempts, 41 inside the 41 attempts inside the arc, and they only turn it over 7 times. These guys handle the ball well, and these guys can put so much pressure on the rim. And for a VCU team that we thought one of their strengths would kind of be their athleticism defensively, they got Brandon Jennings into foul trouble. That's one of their best on-ball defenders. And obviously Djokovic is a good defender, but probably not the best interior defender that they have. And they made a VCU team that maybe hasn't been quite as good defensively as we hoped they would be. They really just kind of scored at will on them. And again, I do think I'm a little concerned about George Mason's defense. It's not quite what it was last year, not even close. They were 31st nationally in defense last year because they had so much ball pressure. Katie Johnson was huge. They had guys that could block shots. They had wings that were really athletic. I don't think it's the same thing this year. I think it's just all based on the ability to generate paint touches and foul shots on the inside this year on the offensive side of the ball. And yeah, they're still kind of a slower paced team, but I think that the difference comes there just so much. There's so much more to them offensively this year than I think last, and obviously a lot worse of a defensive team. They don't have the go-getter type of way that they did last year. And I think that's what Tony Skin wants to get to, but I also think he understands like what his team is at the moment. If we go to some whip around stuff, I know that's all we're going to get out of that. Hopefully Jonathan will be back soon. I'm going to hit on a couple other things before that. Give me FAU over Memphis 89-78 in Boca Raton. Memphis drops to 7-8. It's their first loss in the American, but it's their 8th loss overall. It's something like this is like untenable. Like this is really bad for Memphis. They were 29-6 last year, I know, but it was 54th in KenPom. It was a team that was an underdog to a 12 seed in the NCAA tournament. So if you look at everything that they are, and then you look at what they are now, offense 149th. They don't have creators. Doug McDaniel has just not been good for them. They don't have the bigs. They were searching for bigs in the transfer portal in September. They just don't have a good enough roster for what they need. And sure, they're going to win a bunch of games in the American, but they're also going to lose a bunch of games in the American. Like they've got a road trip week or so to Tulsa and Wichita State. They're underdogs in both of those games. They're currently projected 12-6 in the league and 17-14 overall per KenPom. Like you can't do that at Memphis right now. I don't see. Like, if I were the athletic director, I mean, we've made our opinions on this show very clear about Penny Hardaway through the years as a coach. But man, like this is the worst season that he's had. And we're basically halfway through it. And I'm not sure we've seen the worst of it yet. But for FAU though, to get this win, Devin Vanderpool was great. They are 11-6. They're 2-1 in the conference. Definitely a threat. I think the American's kind of open. I don't know who the best team in the American is this year. Is it South Florida? Is it Tulsa, who's now 1-2? South Florida's 2-1. The 2 undefeated teams are Temple and Tulane, and I don't think either of those teams are the best teams in this league. I mean, UAB's 2-2. They're good, but they're 2-2. Like this is an open league. I mean, obviously the bottom is really bad with UTSA and East Carolina, but I do think that there's a lot of intrigue at the top. I think there's some good teams, and maybe not like 12 seeds this year. It's obviously a one-bid league. We know that. Tulsa maybe had a chance at net large. They're probably not because they finished non-conference play 12-1. The only loss was Kansas State. They're probably not going to get that at this point now. I know that the losses are to good teams in conference play in North Texas and South Florida, but I don't think that they're going to be able to kind of do enough to build back the at-large case. They don't really have the monster wins from the non-con. They have some good wins, just not wins that are going to move the NCAA tournament needle. So that's kind of the take on the American Conference right now. It's definitely going to be a one-bid league. Don't know who's going to end up winning that league. Think it'll be really competitive down the stretch. But man, Just disappointing for Memphis to be where they are right now. UCF was in the AP top 25 last week, and they backed that up with a win over Cincinnati, although they did lose to Oklahoma State on the road. We kind of feel what they are. They are a tournament-ish team. There's a lot of tournament-ish in the Big 12 right now. Like a loss to Oklahoma State on the road, like it's not going to look awful on the resume. Oklahoma State's a solid group. They've got a really nice record, 13-3. But for UCF, they're probably not going to be ranked this week because of that. They did get the win over Cincinnati. I think that might say a little more about what Cincinnati is right now at 0-3 in the Big 12. Offense is 206th, and it's just really bad to watch. And Cincinnati, however much they paid to get Mustafa Thiam from UCF, only to go and then lose to UCF and be markedly worse than UCF. That's got to be a really bad look, a really disappointing look for the Bearcats, who I think most people expect to be in the market for a new coach come March, because this is now year 5 of Wes Miller. No NCAA tournament appearances. They have not finished above 500 in Big 12 play, and looks like that will not happen this year either. Rutgers over Northwestern. Man, Northwestern has now lost all 5 of its Big 10 games. This is 61st in KenPom, 8-8. Northwestern's not going to make the NCAA tournament. I think that's pretty fair to say at this point with 0-5. This is the first real bad loss. Rutgers just has been awful this year, but they've now won 2 overtime home games in the Big Ten. So shout out to them for doing that. But for Northwestern, Nick Martinelli drops 34. Nobody else does anything. Aaron Page comes off the bench and does well, but man, Martinelli is really kind of this entire team's scoring at the moment. And Northwestern does not have a good defense whatsoever. They're not scoring outside much of Martinelli. It's been a tough watch. They've got to now have Illinois and Nebraska and then the West Coast trip. So there is a real chance that Northwestern is 0-9 in the Big Ten 2 weeks from today. Now that they could win a couple of these, they could resurrect some stuff, but I still think that the NCAA tournament is not going to happen for them this year. They're projected 5-15 now in the Big Ten. I'm talking about Northwestern being 0-5 in the Big Ten, and I think at this point effectively eliminated from.
Oh yeah, no, it's not good. Defense isn't quite as good as I thought it would be. Nowhere near actually as good as I thought it would be.
All right, some more stuff to get into. I also talked a little bit about the American. You know what? You know who needs a shout out, Jonathan? Doug Gottlieb. 5-2 in the Horizon League.
Turns out you get better at coaching when you quit your full-time radio job.
It also turns out that they did a much better, as I said, as I've been saying all offseason, such better job of hiring assistants and building a roster this year. I know he got the job really late last year, but I do think that he learned.
There was no excuse for them being as bad as they were last year with the amount of talent that they ended up having.
Yeah, and this year's team, I feel like it was put together a lot more intentionally, and they're actually a threat now in the Horizon League. Oh man,
yeah,
our IU
what tied for second place?
Yeah, man, our IU Indy boys, 0-8, 4-15,
still watchable.
They might actually win 4 games.
Well, they're 0-8 in conference play right now.
Yeah, as I said, if
they're
you remember
favored in one game the rest of the
season. I don't know
season.
if they'll win 4 games. I don't know if they'll win 14. I don't know if they'll win 24. They might just win 4.
Tough debut season for Ben Howlett, but
yeah, they played a 69 and a 67 possession game over the last 2 weeks. That's not what they want to do.
No, don't want to get slowed down.
But they're still the number 1 pace team in the country. It's close though. Georgia's right there with them. Cal Poly is as well. Oklahoma State. So that is something to keep an eye on as well. St. John's demolishes Creighton in Omaha. St. John's probably still second best team in the Big East. I think we can agree on that at this point.
Yeah. I
Like,
hate it, but yeah.
For all their flaws, they are.
I absolutely hate it, but yeah.
They host Marquette, but then they have the tough stretch of Villanova and Seton Hall.
Where are they playing this Villanova game?
At the Wells Fargo Center.
Okay. It's listed as semi away, so I just was curious.
Yeah, I don't know why. That's weird.
Mm.
But yeah, so for Villanova, they beat Marquette in a close game. Marquette now 1-5 in the Big East. Oh man, just done with Marquette. Not even gonna talk about them.
Nigel James was really good though.
No, he's great. There was Washington beating Ohio State. You have anything from that?
Diebler's done. I think
11-5 now, 3-3.
You can't keep him for another year.
Just some other stuff coming from Saturday as well.
Is there anything? I'm
Utah
looking
State.
at the whip around. Did you talk Memphis at all?
I did talk FAU. I want you to talk Duke.
Oh, it's just an inconsistency right now. I think Malik Brown in the starting lineup is generally a good thing. Ngongba has been good this year on both sides of the floor, but Malik provides an energy that you just can't match really with any player in college basketball. Right now, I just think it's defense and offense are both inconsistent at times. It feels like they have a lot of things that they can fix for a team that's 15-1, and I think that's a good thing, right?
And what have we always said about Duke under John Shire?
Yeah, that they've improved, throughout the year, and it feels like they've. I don't know if it's that they've taken a step back from the start of the season, or they were just games just went their way because what game in Duke's non-con besides maybe the Michigan State one, which I thought they played well, could you really look at and say yeah, Duke played a really good full 40 minutes here? They didn't against Texas, they didn't against Kansas, they didn't against Arkansas, they didn't against Florida. There's things to fix, and they're 15-1 and 4-0 in conference, and I'd rather be 15-1 and 4-0 in conference than some of the records they've had in past years.
Yeah. Want to get into a little bit of other stuff. It is unfortunate we will not have a conversation about an at-large team that with a loss to a Division II team. Boise State is 1-4 in the Mountain West after getting shellacked. I was trying to find a word for that. Obliteration, 1.42 Utah State points per possession, 93-68. Was never close.
Yeah.
Utah State 14-1.
Yeah, should honestly be more of a story.
Yeah, if more people should be talking about Utah State. They are 20th in KenPom, Jonathan.
They've played 5 Mountain West games and have scored 90 in 4 of them.
Yeah. I feel like this is honestly on us a little bit for not talking about Utah State as much as we should.
To be fair, usually we're all excited to talk about the Mountain West, and they have 4 or 5 teams in contention for an at-large bid. This year they have 1.
Yeah. It's a bad Mountain
Maybe
West.
2 if San Diego State figures it out.
No, I'm out.
But
I guess they're 5-0, but I'm
5-0 in conference play. But Nevada is really the only notable win there.
New Mexico 4-1 in conference play and 13-3. So we'll see what happens with
that. I don't mind them either.
No, I like them because I think Olin is really good.
Losing to New Mexico State in non-con is tough though.
Yeah. Just a couple other things that I noticed on Saturday before we get into some of the stuff for tonight and tomorrow. And before I give you your Valley update, Hamad Musa has been awesome for Cal Poly this year.
Yeah.
He's 24 points and 10 rebounds in this one, 34 and 7 before that. Just total stud. Cal Poly got a needed win, 3-3 in the Big West now. I watched a good amount of the Iowa State-Oklahoma State game. Again, thought that Iowa State kind of did what they needed to do, got the win. Jefferson was great. Torrey. I tweeted out that I think no team I've ever seen does the little things louder than Iowa State.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good point.
I watched a lot of Big Sky Ball as well on Saturday.
Is there like...
That's a fun league.
I'm trying to think of the right way to phrase this. Is there been in the last 5-6 years of college basketball like a truly elite team that like is as like least talked about as Iowa State is?
It's a good question.
And like they have wins over Purdue, St. John's, Iowa, Creighton.
I feel like 2023 Houston, maybe.
Yeah, that's also, they were in a mid-major conference. And I don't think there's been like a national player or like an All-American that's like as obvious, but like not talked about like Joshua Jefferson has been. Like, I feel like there's a very...
I feel like there's a lot of All-American caliber guys this year that nobody's talking about.
Joshua Jefferson gets a lot of love from like guys like us. Like Ryan talks about him all the time. Like the not like big media guys.
Yeah,
talk about him all the time.
But I don't feel like the average college basketball fan really even knows who he is.
Right, and he's like maybe the most impactful player in the entire sport.
I still think it's probably a Boozer or Yaks or one of those guys. But Jefferson's a first-team All-American. Easily.
Yeah, no doubt.
I watched again with the Big Sky. Thought really important win for Idaho over Montana State. And we were talking about Eastern Washington early in the year because they had the close losses and they were like 0-4. They are the best 3-13 team in the country, and it's not even close. Like,
thank you, Dennis Gates.
I'm not even trying to sound like Dennis Gates here. Like, find me. Like, they don't have a ton of like real bad losses on here. Like, I guess they did get blown out by Seattle. Like,
they have
blown out by Central Arkansas.
They have only three of their 13 losses have come outside of the KenPom top 200.
And the Idaho loss was away by 3 points. Montana State by 4, and then they go and they beat Montana at home. I still think Eastern Washington is like a potential 500 team in that league, even though they're 3-13 overall.
Yeah, and 1-2 in league.
They don't play any defense. Like they don't play any defense.
No, but like their two conference losses are like they lost to Idaho on the road, like no shame in that, and then they lost by 4 at home to Montana State, so like no shame in that either.
Charleston Southern gave High Point a heck of a game on Saturday. CSU having a good year. I think I mentioned this a couple days ago, but just lost the 2 games to the 2 best teams in the league by a combined 6 points. They're not there yet. We had some Ivy ball. Princeton 2-0. They beat Yale.
What a weird week of Ivy League basketball.
Yeah, Columbia gets destroyed. Yale loses that game. I told you like at halftime that Princeton was going to win that game.
Dude, Princeton still might make Ivy Madness.
Like they're 2-0. Like they are projected to go 7-7, and they're 2-0. I guess I will say their 2 wins are at home, but they're against teams they're good. Like Penn's good, ish. Like they don't guard, but they score.
Dude, this is the worst Princeton team in well over a decade, and it's
also a really like just not very good Ivy League as a whole.
Like, I'm looking through it right now. 264 in 2009. That like is that's where you have to go back to find a year that they're currently that they're lower ranked in Ken Palm than they currently are.
All right, just a couple other things to touch on from the weekend. We've got.
How the hell did you put UCF Cincinnati on this rundown?
Because UCF because Cincinnati took Mustafa Thiam.
Dude, I'm gonna get brain damage if I have to talk about Wes Miller again.
I already talked about that.
Good.
I
also forgot to mention something. I think when we were talking about Illinois, Iowa, I think this is Brad Underwood's best team at Illinois.
I think you mentioned that.
Better than the Iowa team in 2021. They got a 1 seed.
Yeah. Maryland Eastern Shore, Jonathan, 2-0 in the MEAC. Our Hawks.
Ethan Bach getting closer and closer to a podcast appearance to talk about the MEAC.
Yeah, big one tonight in the MEAC. Norfolk State against Maryland Eastern Shore. Who you got?
Give me the established Norfolk State program.
I got to ride with the Hawks.
Wow.
I got to ride. I know it's on the road, but I can't pick against Ethan Bach.
Who's the Maryland Eastern Shore coach?
Ethan Bach.
Cleo Hill is his name. They've actually gone from 358 to 3.
Oh, they're good. Okay. Good.
Did you just say they were good?
Good is relative, but for that program that has never made the NCAA tournament, they've always been. I think this is their first ever 2-0 start in the MEAC.
They just beat Howard by double digits. Howard's one of the better teams in the league.
Yeah, Howard's the most resourced team in that league.
Yeah.
And they're 0-2. Had the loss.
Howard has some fairly notable wins this year.
Yeah. Niagara.
That was not one that was coming off the top.
Hey, they won at Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Did they?
Yeah, that game was at Cameron.
You said they won at Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Yeah, they beat Niagara at Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that game was at Cameron because it's the Brotherhood run.
Yep.
They knocked off UNC Wilmington on the road less than a month ago.
They also played Carolina A&T at Cameron Indoor Stadium and won.
Now, why was that game at Cameron?
I don't know. Kenny Blakeney's pulling some weird strings.
Monte Ross.
Tonight's games, Navy American seems like a solid one in the Patriot League.
Yeah. A lot of
McNeese Nichols. Nichols is 7-0 in the Southland. McNeese
really
6-1. Yeah. So that's
no idea. Wow.
It's a huge Southland game.
They started 0-7. Now, granted, the schedule was borderline impossible, but.
And then tomorrow, I mentioned those games already. Anything else you want to hit on before we get out of here?
Racers.
Oh yeah. Oh, I got to give you your Valley update.
Racers.
Sirs.
Dude, Racers are 7-0 in league play, and they have won 11 in a row. That includes wins over George Washington, Akron, and Bradley by 20.
Yeah, we're in on the Racers. 15-3.
Awesome team.
The team in the Valley
Did you see the Belmont Drake game?
I did.
Belmont was down 25 in the second half and won.
No, I saw it early and Drake was killing them, and then I looked up and all of a sudden Belmont was right back.
Yeah. I was at the point where I wasn't even checking the score, and Belmont just stormed back and won it at the buzzer.
Keep an eye out. Saturday, January 31st, big day in college basketball. BYU plays Kansas that day. Kentucky plays Arkansas. Biggest game of the day. We might end up leading Saturday Night Live with that.
Belmont Murray State.
Is Belmont Murray State.
Yeah, Murray State's got a 2-game lead right now in the conference because of the Belmont loss earlier last week. But they've also take the consensus top 5 from the league. Murray State, Belmont, Bradley, Northern Iowa, and Illinois State. Murray State's only played 1 game against those other 4. So, granted, they beat Bradley quite easily. But
we will be guessing the St. Mary's score tomorrow if we have a pod.
Oh, they play tomorrow?
Yes, they play San Francisco.
Awesome.
And
That's-
the
that's
last thing
great.
that I want to mention for tomorrow, George Mason plays at Loyola Chicago. George Mason's next game is at home against GW after this. Is this the most obvious Loyola Chicago trap game of all time?
Like that Loyola Chicago is going to win?
Yeah, it's at Loyola.
Dude, I don't think I'll predict the Loyola Chicago loss the rest of the season.
All right, let's go home on that.
Dude, what is this?
We are not watching Conference USA right now.
We're anti Missouri State. Those traitors.
All right, Jonathan, you want to take us home?
If you came to hear about Tyler Self and where he's working, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about episode 66.5, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about the latest happenings with Caleb Grill, you came to the right place. This has been season 6, episode 66.5 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Mid Steelers. We'll see you tomorrow night.